Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Good Health by Claudia podcast with me, Denny Schaffer, a production of Denny Radio. This is episode 97. 97. We're very excited. We got a really special one planned coming up here for episode 100. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. First off, I've been snowbirding for the whole month of January, so it's nice to be back in the studio and hanging out with you. You look great.
Thank you.
You've been doing some new healthy regimens. Your skin looks vibrant.
Well, just doing what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, working on it every day. Just, it's
all right.
It's a walk in motion. You know what I mean?
Yep. And today, hopefully, we're going to learn and improve everybody's health. We have a guest today. It's Deb Hackathorn. She's an experienced government relations professional known for her deep understanding of public policy and legislative processes. In her career, she's worked closely with associations, businesses, and public organizations to navigate complex political environments, build bipartisan relationships, and build strategic decision-making. She holds an MPA from the University of Toledo. Woohoo! She grew up in Old Orchard.
Yeah.
I believe. Okay. Claudia?
Yes.
Is Deb going to be able to help me with my daily health regimen? Or are we going a little different, in a little different direction today?
What we're talking about today is very important. We're going to be talking about the situation in Ohio with hemp-derived CBD products.
Okay.
And these products mean a lot to a lot of people. So there's activity going on right now in Ohio that a lot of people are very upset about. So we're very grateful to have Deb on today.
There she is. Hello, Deb.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yep.
And we appreciate you going on and talking to us and sharing your information.
Yes,
all right,
thank
Claudia,
you.
where would you like to start today with Deb?
Well, Deb, there's a few things that I'd like to clarify for people. We have a lot of people calling the store, coming in, emailing me about what is going on in Ohio. The citizens of Ohio worked to make hemp-derived CBD products legal for sale. What year was that went through?
The state effort was 2023.
2023. Thank you. And we've been providing our customers with these wonderful products that have helped so many people. But there's currently a change in the law, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, Deb, why don't you take it from there?
Sure. I can tell you, thanks, first of all, for having me on. And I can tell you a little bit about the history here. And I know people look at this both as marijuana and also hemp-derived products. So let me clarify. It was actually 2019, and I worked for an organization called the U.S. Hemp Roundtable. I still work with them today. And we worked and brought to the Ohio General Assembly a bill to make hemp products legal in the state of Ohio. So we were successful in doing that. And we appreciate that people around Ohio have been using our products and benefiting from those products for these last 7+ years. Then in 2023, I was referencing that day, that's when voters of Ohio voted in favor of an initiated statute to also legalize recreational marijuana in Ohio. And so then both of those have been legal for the last couple of years. Unfortunately, more recently, the legislature has passed a bill that is going to affect the sale of hemp, specifically hemp products in the state of Ohio. The governor of Ohio has for some time now indicated that he's not a supporter of those hemp products. He was not in favor of legalizing marijuana products either. But he has been working for several years to ask the legislature to pass something to restrict the sale of hemp products and to minimize the amount of THC that could be contained in a hemp product. We've been successful at fighting that for about 3 years, but unfortunately, particularly with the changes in federal law, our legislature very recently passed a new bill. It was Senate Bill 56, and it makes big changes to what is legal as it relates to hemp products.
Yes. So I'm glad you clarified that difference between the 2019 activity, and then the 2023. So at the store, we've been selling hemp-derived CBD, full spectrum CBD products. And in fact, we not only are they helping many, many people, but we have a lot of docs now that refer to our patients to our store for these products to be educated properly, and we're very grateful. So we have not seen an issue on our end with any kind of concerns with people using these products. So I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, in regard to what was passed in 2019, what the allowable level of, in a full spectrum product, the THC had to be under a certain amount, correct, to be in the marketplace.
Well, at that time, Ohio law reflected what the federal law said, essentially that if you were going to make a hemp product, you had to use the hemp seed, and it had to have less than 0.3% THC on a dry weight basis, to be specific. But beyond that, Ohio law did not contain any limitations on what a finished product would look like or what it could contain. And so over time, where policymakers developed concerns is that they saw products being sold around the state, whether those were beverage products or other types of products that contain different levels of THC in the finished product. And so some policymakers started raising concerns about that. And then when the recreational marijuana became legal, then you can imagine that people in the marijuana industry started indicating, well, why can you buy a hemp product in a store that has X amount of THC, but you have to only go to a marijuana dispensary to buy marijuana products with certain amounts of THC? And that's really what led to policymakers trying to make distinctions and also putting limitations on the amount of THC in products that could be sold at retail.
So hold on. Is it safe to say that all of this, what's behind it is they're trying to force all the products to be at dispensaries and only dispensaries? Because Claudia doesn't sell recreational products. It's all medical CBD. You're not going in there and getting something that has full spectrum CBD in it to get high, but you're going to a dispensary to get your recreational stuff, like gummies, I guess, smoke, whatever. Right. So is that what this is really all about, to protect the dispensaries, which is, doesn't the state make most of their money from the dispensary as opposed to Claudia's Health Food?
You've kind of hit the nail on the head there. This is about...
ladies. Thank you. Podcast over.
Good done. I mean, you've got it, Denny. It's, where do they want people to buy the product? Right. There's, different taxes and higher taxes being paid on the products that are being sold at the dispensaries. There are limitations on the number of dispensaries. So there's a significant amount of regulatory control over the sale of those products. And we ended up hitting that wall after recreational marijuana was approved in Ohio, and policymakers started being lobbied hard on, that only products containing THC should be sold in the dispensaries and not available at stores like Claudia stores and hundreds of other stores around the state of Ohio that have been, selling these products for the last 7 years. So the current law, which was passed at the end of 2025, but will take effect on March 19th, 2026, makes the limit on what would be allowed to be sold in a retail store at anything less than 0.4 milligrams of THC per container. So essentially, my industry tells me that means it wipes out almost all of the products that you think of as hemp products in the stores. Yes. Really only leaves an isolate product, which would contain no THC.
Yes.
So that means you're going to have to pull stuff off your shelf.
Well, we, in talking to other stores around the state of Ohio, some are choosing not to. But we're going to abide by the law, and we're going to.
Oh, come on, be a rebel.
But
chain yourself to the door.
But we've always followed the law, and it's for better or worse. We like to keep our doors open, and but it's a sad thing because it always goes back to the politics and the money and who's making the money and who isn't. And I think it's fair to say that possibly people going into dispensaries and the people coming into health food stores maybe are a different clientele. And, when a lot of these products were starting to come in the market, like drinks and all these, I wouldn't bring them in the store because I knew it was too much of a gray area. I didn't want to go there. So we stick to what we have, what we're allowed to do. And we've done it well with education. And, as I said, the CBD products are helping a lot of people. And whether it's dealing with anxiety or pain or whatever it might be. And as always, the companies that are doing it properly, the good players, are going to be the ones that are penalized for a lot of the bad players out there.
That's right. You've hit on a very good point. And for those people that are wondering, well, why did the legislature even consider this, or why were they making this distinction? Unfortunately, there are some products that are out there, and people focus on different names, but certain places that they were able to buy products that people would hold up and use as example that would show that they had excessive amounts of THC in the product, whether that was a beverage product or not. And so it really became difficult for those of you that are trying to sell very legitimate products that are helping people, again, as you said, to sleep better, reduce anxiety. I know many users of those types of traditional hemp products, but a few of those bad apples, if you will, did spoil the bunch on this. And it gave people a bad feeling that it all needed to be regulated. They needed more control over it, and they wanted to limit the sales because of it.
Yeah. And I think they need to, because what we're talking about, is a very important distinction between products that are full spectrum CBD, 0.3% or below, versus the other products that people are using for whatever, whatever they're doing with it, recreational. And again, I will always stand on the side. I've said this for years, whether it's this issue or any issue. I believe that plants belong to all of us. I don't think they should be regulated. We've seen this in our own industry with a lot of different herbals. I'm not into, I just think people should have the right through proper education and using things responsibly to have access to what they choose to have access to. So
yes, we tried very hard to talk about creating a law that would allow people only 21 and over to use certain products, limitations that we thought were reasonable regulations that would still allow a retail customer to buy hemp products in Ohio. And we just could not get this legislature to agree to that, or this governor to agree to that.
Wow, sounds like somebody else's lobbyists had a little more power and swayed a few politicians. Let me ask you this. So you said March, when do they have to be off the shelves? March what?
March 19th is when the new law takes effect with those limitations.
So the products that I'm used to, getting from Claudia's, will I be able to go over to a dispensary and buy the same things? Can I go over the line into Michigan where it's, we're right on the line, as you know.
I do know.
They're crazy in Michigan for their weed. So will I be able to go across the border and buy these products? How's it going to work?
I don't know that anyone will be able to stop you from buying products across the border, or if people will, in fact, who have been going into a CBD store would actually go to a dispensary to buy those products. We tried to say that we didn't think a lot of people who are buying their products at health food stores or CBD stores are the type of people who actually would go to a dispensary because they're not looking for the same type of product.
Right, exactly.
But what dispensaries will then provide, or the types of products that they might carry after this, I really can't say yet. That remains to be seen.
So my guess is they're going to start selling them at the dispensary because they're not going to be able to go to your store, but you got a dispensary right around the corner from you.
Yeah.
And people are just going to go over there and say, hey, you have this product that I usually get at Why, yes, we do.
Yeah.
So that stinks.
But there's so many reputable, wonderful companies out there. And, a lot of, it's not just people getting benefit. it's pets. We have, we have a lot of wonderful pet products that are helping these pets, especially, the 4th of July when all these dogs are freaked out. We have a lot of people that come in because these products help calm their animal. And, that's very important stuff. So, but I want to, first of all, I just want to say, I have a lot of respect for the U.S. Hemp Roundtable, and I appreciate the work and the diligence that you guys have done, because it's not just in Ohio. You guys have working all over your advocacy nationally, and this is a big, big deal. So I'm very grateful you guys have been doing this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you for saying that. Yes.
One thing I do want to ask you, there's this definition of intoxicating hemp. What exactly does that refer to?
Well, again, the legislature decided to use those limits that they were including in the bill as the demarcation for intoxicating. So the industry might have said that you could have up to, and I'm just using as an example, 5 milligrams per serving or 10 milligrams per serving in a product, and that might lead you to a place where you might consider that intoxicating, where it would have a certain effect on the body. But this bill essentially sets that as anything above 0.4 milligrams.
Right.
And so for people who typically use hemp products, they say that number is absurdly low, and that there's really no value to them in terms of the relief that they are seeking if they have to use a product that doesn't have anything more than that in it.
Well, what I know is these products are wonderful. They're very safe. They're helping a lot of people and their pets. And I hope the Ohio legislation understands they're gonna hurt a lot of people that are very responsible, very intelligent, grown adults that are using these products not to go out and get high, but they're using them for the benefit of their health. That's who they're going to be hurting, and it's a shame. So I know that there's activity in Ohio going on. Can we talk about that for a moment?
I think that
Absolutely.
didn't that just happen on Tuesday, where the Attorney General Dave Yost is allowing for the petition to begin, for a referendum to be put on the ballot to get rid of this?
Yeah. So another not frequently used tool that is in Ohio law is that you can gather support to take an issue directly to the voters, even after the legislature has passed a bill on a subject. So we've been talking about it. Senate Bill 56, which takes effect in March, was passed by the legislature, and it includes these limitations on hemp product sales. It includes other things related to the marijuana industry as well. So it's a broader bill.
Okay.
Some folks, this Ohio Cannabis Coalition, decided that they wanted to pursue taking this bill to the voters to essentially ask the voters, do you agree with what the legislature did, or do you reject what the legislature did? So they are on a fast track and just received approval this week, as Denny mentioned, to move forward to the next step. And the next step involves gathering hundreds of thousands of signatures, roughly 250,000 signatures from registered voters in the state of Ohio. And they need to be able to gather those signatures, present those to the Secretary of State of Ohio, and touch all the bases to put this issue in front of the voters in November. Their goal is to get all of those approvals to do this before March 19th, because if they can certify this issue and approve it to be taken to the voters in November, it will actually stop Senate Bill 56 from taking effect.
Yes.
So even though it's passed, it's still not the law. And so they are using this effort to try to stop it from becoming law and to delay that and allow the voters in November to decide whether they agree with what the legislature passed.
So I just want to, if you would clarify, please, because people have said, well, the voters already voted on the marijuana part. How is it being overturned? And I was head of the state of Ohio when we were working on mandating GMO labeling, and we learned that if a referendum, which is what they did, you need less votes. We were going for a constitutional amendment, which is far more signatures, but it can't be overturned. So a referendum can be overturned by legislation, correct?
Well, yes. What happened is that originally the marijuana interests tried to do a constitutional amendment back in 2015, I think it was, that would have created legalized recreational marijuana. That was rejected by Ohio voters. And so in this last go round in 2023, they chose a different route. And that was this initiated statute. And so essentially what it means is that, yes, the voters did approve the language and they created a law in Ohio that legalizes marijuana. But because it's statute and not the Constitution, the legislature can change that statute. And so even in this Senate Bill 56, some of the parts of that statute passed in 23 are being changed in Senate Bill 56. And the legislature can do that. And so this new effort is going to the voters and saying, some of the things you changed in that bill, some of it related to marijuana, some of it related to hemp, we're asking the voters yet again, do you want this to be the law or do you want to reject this? So people in Ohio will still, I hope, have another opportunity to reject these changes and keep hemp products legal. Now that's separate from what the feds are doing, but at least in Ohio and under Ohio law, there is an opportunity to make hemp products remain legal.
So just so I'm clear on this, the voters passed a law that said, this is what we want. The legislators, once it passed, said, yeah, we know that's what you wanted, but we know better than you do. We're going to change it. Is that a fair assessment, Deb?
Well, I've heard other people put it that way as well. Yes, the General Assembly does have the authority to change the statute. And there were members of the legislature who said exactly what you said. I'm not going to vote for this because that's not what the voters voted for. There are other members that said it was an initiated statute and that means we can change it. And we feel comfortable making these changes to it. So
I hope the people come back. I got this petition. They're going to get enough signatures. It's going to be on in November. And then we'll let the voters decide again.
They just have to get the signatures quickly.
It's a very short timeline. So it is an aggressive timeline, but I know that the Cannabis Coalition is at least committed to doing everything they can to try to.
Timeline? When do they have to I think it's 250,000 signatures, registered voters.
Roughly. And they need to be able to turn them in and have them approved or certified and have this issue certified for the ballot before March 19th in order to stop Senate Bill 56 from taking effect on March 19th.
But one of the things I want to make sure everybody understands, it's that because this is a very convoluted issue, right? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to what we're talking about. And I think it's just important that people understand a CBD, a full spectrum CBD product is not like, it's not the same thing as smoking a joint. And there's a big difference there, correct?
That is correct.
So those are two different subjects, two different issues that I think people need to understand. One is they're very different and they're being utilized differently. So
they're very different. Unfortunately, not everybody is as educated about it as you are. Not all legislators are as familiar with all of it as you are. And again, some of those egregious examples that the Hemp Roundtable agreed with were egregious examples and should be eliminated.
yes.
They couldn't get to a place where they felt comfortable doing more regulation. They just did what I think was a little bit easier, which is just ban one thing and shove everything else into the dispensaries.
Right. So, well, we'll just keep the faith and hope that they collect the signatures they need. And
well, let me ask you this. Will you have the petitions at your store for people to sign?
well, I'm trying to reach out to the coalition to talk to somebody. But
I would think they would
as of
want
yet,
that.
I've not heard from anyone. So
All right, well, stay tuned, people.
once we hear from them,
Yeah, keep an eye on Claudia's socials.
And,
so
yeah.
put the word out.
and for me, it's protecting the products that are truly helping people.
Yeah.
That's what's important. So
Absolutely.
All right, anything else for Deb?
Deb, did we cover enough today? Did you?
I think you did. I think everybody knows what's happening, and there's a little call to action there for people who want to continue to support the availability of hemp products in Ohio.
Yes.
Awesome. And when they collect the signatures and it's on the ballot, we'll have you back on.
Happy to do so.
And we very much appreciate the work you're doing. Thank you for being with us today. It's terrific.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. Many blessings to you.
All right, there you go. All right. I wasn't sure where we were going with this at first, but I like it. I like that you're going to fight the fight.
Yeah.
And my guess is they're going to want to petition in your store and other stores, because it's kind of cold for people to go out and find where people are gathering to sign petitions. 250,000 in just over a month.
250,000.
That's a lot of work, Claudia. But
And when they
it can be done.
When people collect these signatures, the signatures have to all be vetted.
Right. We got to be registered voters.
They have to be registered, the proper name, the proper address. It's all that stuff. So
all right. Well,
anyway,
awesome. I love it. Another good podcast.
Yeah. We just, keep the faith and keep doing what we can to keep plants in the hands of the public where they belong. And of course, for me, it's always about the proper education and using these herbals responsibly. So, everyone that's out there that's using these products, you can join in and help. And, we'll let you know if we're collecting at the store or where the collection sites are, so you can join in. So,
and please share the podcast. Always share the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you the last word.
Well, that's it.
All
Keep
right.
the faith. Keep the faith, everybody. Just keep doing what you can in baby steps to make the world a better place. That's it. That's all we can do. So it starts in our own life, in our own home, in our own world. So anyway, keep the faith, everyone. We're very grateful that you're joining in. Our numbers are growing and we're very excited. We're very grateful for all of you tuning in. So that's it.